All right, well, I guess the only place to start is the beginning. Welcome to Big Spruce Farm. Christine and I have been looking for a place for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years now. And we found this place that's about 15 miles outside of Ithaca. It's an old abandoned dairy farm, and it's sort of the south side of a small mountain, a big hill. It's got kind of everything. The only thing it doesn't have is a house. It's got a couple of old barn buildings and an old workshop slash hen house that you can see right there behind us that we're going to convert into a little cottage initially. It has traffic. We're right on the edge of the property, right down at the state highway, so you can hear the trucks flying by. Half a mile up this hill, there's a big natural spring and pond and a gorge that flows down the middle of the property down to a trout stream in the bottomlands. And it's just a fantastic place to be. It's a little noisy right here. We're literally maybe 100 feet from the road. But once you get towards the top of the property, about a half mile in, it's just completely silent, nothing but animals and birds, and lovely. And so yeah, welcome to Big Spruce Farm.
The goal is really to spend the first probably a year or two rehabbing the land since it was abandoned. There's a lot of invasives. There's a lot of restoration that needs to happen just to make sure that the barn, which is more than 100 years old, stays standing because it's in decent condition. So we're really going to be focused right now on getting it back to a state where it's stable, it's well cared for. We can start to bring the forest and the land back up to par and up to speed. And then we've got tons of projects.
The goal is to be able to split our time between Big Spruce Farm and our city house. At least for the next few years, the thing. So, you know, in the future, as we pointed out, there's this building right here, which is actually a decent sized building. And that's like 600 square feet. So we figure that is a very tackleable. Manageable. We can tackle that. That's going to be sort of one of the big projects that we get cracking on immediately. We're going to weatherproof it, and we're going to make it like a 3-season cabin. In the near future, get a well drilled for this bottom side of the property so that we have good potable water. We will be getting the barn hooked up to the grid, so we actually have an electric service here. It's just not hooked up. And then, you know, as you guys may or may not know, if you're new to us completely and haven't seen anything else that we've done on YouTube or Instagram, we're both big into electric cars. I drive a Tesla normally, although currently farm life has dictated that the Ford F-250 is out and I'm paying $160 for a tank of gas. But we're gonna, you know, make an attempt to put solar on one of the barns and have an EV charging station here.
And at some point we'll take you on a tour of the whole property. But today we really have to focus on getting the roads drivable. So we can't do that yet because we can't get all the way to the top of the property until we do some maintenance.
Yeah, this is, you know, this is day one. This is literally our first day working on the farm. I've got a pickup truck full of fencing materials and a giant gate.
I have a truck, back of my SUV is filled with concrete and it's sagging a little.
And we brought some different tools and some things, so we're going to get cracking. We'll take you along on a little bit of today. There'll probably be some like, you know, quick. Nobody wants to see me dig a post hole for 40 minutes, so
we'll show you the befores and afters.
There might be some time lapses in there. Anyway, so yeah, so this is it. Video number 1. Big Spruce Farm, which is a brand new name. Historically, I believe
Poppy Hill.
The previous owners, who are multi-generation that own this property, called it Poppy Hill Farm. It was a dairy farm.
I would like to believe there's poppies up on the hill.
But we have not seen any.
But all we can find is invasive honeysuckle. So maybe once we get those out of there, we'll find some remainders.
And I think it's probably worth just saying real quick. So the reason we picked Big Spruce Farm, because we were thinking about it. And when you look right here, these are where the old farmhouse used to be. And yeah, perspective wise, you may or may not be able to see how big these actually are. Hang on a second. Let me just turn you around so we can see. Keep going, go all the way to that middle one. So these things are enormous. Like there are big trees, but this one is probably 120 feet tall and probably, you know, it's, anyway. So there is a really, really big stand of spruce trees here. They are some fantastic looking trees. There's other spruces around too, scattered here and there, but this little cluster are just fantastic and enormous. They're not going anywhere. We will definitely be cleaning things up, but that is why we decided to name it Big Spruce Farm. So let's get to work.
So today's project is to take this overgrown entrance and fix it up so it looks like it's where someone's taking care of the property. We're going to try to do a little bit more to secure it than the one loose piece of wire that was hanging between two posts. So this is going to be today's work. So one of the challenges we have on this property in spades is invasive. Is this honeysuckle?
Yeah.
So invasive honeysuckle. And we've been doing a lot of research on the best way to remove it. And we are testing out one theory right now. So the goal is to rip it out at its roots if possible. And we're wondering if, at least on this lower part of the property, with these smaller ones, we can do it with a chain. So George is gonna hook this up to the truck and we're gonna give it a shot.
All right, so as you're watching this, you're probably thinking, exactly what are they doing? They keep the truck keeps coming in and out really quick. And I know it's kind of hard to see, but what we're doing is we've got this 12,000 pound recovery chain. We're using one of the shackles on the F250. And then what we found is if you block it all, most of these bigger or medium sized, this is kind of a medium sized one, honeysuckle bushes, they have this like cluster root. So we're using the chain and we're actually, you know, like you would do for logging, we're wrapping it around. I find 2 or 3 wraps is best to get you sort of better gripping around the chain. And then we're just using the 4-wheel drive and slowly back in the truck. Oh, Christien's the operator. There she is. And you know, we're taking these out one at a time, so we've probably pulled a dozen or more out, and you can even get the smaller ones out. So let's give this a shot. Let's see what we got going on. We've had, let me just get here. We've had varying success. Sometimes it kind of rips the branch a little bit. Other times it grabs very nicely, but what I've been doing is kind of standing on the chain and keeping it low and using my hands to pull back on the branches so that it doesn't slide off. With these smaller bushes, I have zero concern this chain is going to break. It's a 12,000, you know, a 6-ton chain. So this might give loose violently, but the chain is not going to break on me, I don't think. So let's give it a go. Slowly, slowly. All right, give it a little bit more. Go ahead, go ahead. There it goes. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna give this one a little yank. All right, so you're just gonna pull up just slightly, right? A little bit more, stop, whoa. All right, when I tell you, just give it a little more of the beans. So instead of, you know, instead of giving it the real slow pull, let's give it a little yank. Not too hard though. All right, go ahead. All right, come forward, rock forward a little bit again. Stop. All right. That's it, it's coming. Do it one more time. Come forward a little. Stop. All right. There it is. Go ahead. Go, go, go. Woo! All right, so that's one of the more serious ones. And you can see, I mean, you know, they're in there pretty good. But man, would that be a lot of picking and shoveling if we had to do it that way. Obviously, we could just cut them off at the ground, but we don't want to use any Roundup. And, you know, we don't want to be battling these forever. So the idea is just to put in a little bit of extra work now and properly get them removed from the ground. Well, yesterday we made a lot of progress. We actually cleared out probably 24 honeysuckle bushes. I don't know, it was a lot. I mean, the upside is that we completely removed them. So we pulled the root systems out. If we could use the truck to do I'm gonna get down to your level a little more. If we could
find a box to stand on.
If we could manage to pull them out with the truck and the recovery chain, we did that. And you know, the more farm work we do, the more we realize there's no easy work. It's just a different kind of hard. So, you know, certainly I wouldn't have wanted to use a pickaxe and a shovel to dig those out, which we had to do with some. But
I've learned how to use a pickaxe. It's very exciting.
But dragging around 100-pound chain and climbing under bushes is no easy task either. So anyway, you know, we got this whole front section cleared out. It is ready for a gate towards the end of the day. Hey there, Mr. Robin. Where you were just digging, like there's literally a big fat robin digging through the
I'm happy to do the work
digging
for
through
you,
the
sir.
dirt. But we go ahead.
I was gonna say, so we got it cleared, and I don't know whether we are just being overly optimistic right now or if things will get easier, but we started digging the post hole last night. It was starting to get late. It got really buggy. It was the end of a 12-hour day, and we were doing it by hand. So I'm learning tons of new tools, and I figured I would take little snippets and share them with people. So most of you probably know about them, but if you're me or someone like me, you don't. So we used a post hole breaker bar. Is that what it's called?
A digger tool. It's a chisel on one end and a tamper on the other, and it's meant for breaking up hard soil.
And then a post hole digger. And so we worked at it for maybe an hour, and we got about a foot.
Yeah, this area is we're just upland, probably a couple 100 feet from a big stream that runs through the valley here, and it's just a lot of river rock. It's not solid rock, but it is not quick digging. It's just every
It was hard.
inch is a
So,
big granite or quartz rock.
This morning when I woke up, I started immediately looking up, can you rent an auger or something like that? Now, it's worth pointing out, I am gadget girl. So I am all for gadgets that are specifically made for a job to make it easier. George is very old school, you know, use old tools, use old processes because they work, and muscle it out. But you can see the difference in our size. So we're gonna see. We went and rented a 2-person post hole auger, and we're gonna see if that makes it any easier. It might be a waste of money. It could work. So we'll take you through the processes, and we won't make you suffer through all of it. We'll take you through, you know, time lapse each individual piece. So part 1 is digging the holes.
Yeah, hopefully, I mean, this is one of those things when they work great, they work great. When they're not appropriate for the soil and the thing you're doing, they don't work great. And the guy at the rental place is like, "You've used one of these?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, it's a different kind of misery and work. It's a, you know, doing it by hand is not that bad if you have soil that's pretty, you know, that's easy to dig.
I can see that. I can see that.
And a post hole auger is the same thing. If it's nice
Gadget
soil.
girl's got her fingers crossed that this gadget works out for us. So
Yeah, me too, because it would be, even with a little bit of muscle, it would be lovely to get each post hole dug in 10 minutes, which is like, that's my optimistic hope, is that a hole takes about 10 minutes of physical
as opposed to
work.
several hours.
Because I mean, I think that digging through this rock, I think manually would take us an hour to 2 hours per hole.
All right, you ready to get going?
Yep.
Okay.
pretty solid days of work to get these holes dug. By hand, I mean, I guess somebody could do it. But even with the auger, it was a real chore. It's just, as you might be able to see here, it's just rock. You know, it's just tons of different mixture of shale and river quartz from the stream that's on the other side of the road here. So, you know, it was just super slow going. There was no easy way to do it. We would auger a little bit. We would use the breaker bar to chip things apart. We would get clear stuff by hand. But we finally at least got the main posts in place for the gate. So I would have loved to get them to 48 inches, but we settled on 36 because it's just a lot of rock, you know? So we're gonna put some extra concrete in the holes to make sure that you know, that they hold up. The gate is a medium duty gate. It's not super heavy, so it should be okay. And we're gonna get to doing that now. We're gonna go ahead and get these leveled and plumb, and we're gonna mix some concrete in a El Cheapo Harbor Freight cement mixer using a generator because we don't have any electricity yet. And we'll see if we need to get water from the stream or not for our concrete mix. So,
one question.
Yeah.
What was the conclusion we came about tractor implements?
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, it's all well and good to go rent, you know, a two-man post digger. And I was saying to Christine, obviously Christine is not a big woman. So, you know, it's an inequity in size and power on the sides of it. But I'm like, I got a buddy of mine that is my size, and it would be miserable doing it with him. Like, what, you know, I get if you have to do it, go get a, you know, a manual one. But man, for $800, an auger attachment for your tractor.
Thumbs
Like,
up.
yeah, I mean, that is definitely, I don't know that's going to be one of the first implements we bring up here, probably a flail mower first, but before we start tackling fencing in the orchard area to keep it deer proof, we are absolutely investing in a good auger for the tractor, because I'm not doing that again.
So what's our next step? Concrete, right?
Concrete, yeah, we got to level up our posts and then mix and pour concrete.
Awesome.
We're gonna mix up a little bit of concrete. Again, we don't have any big machinery. We don't have any electricity. We don't have any water. We brought in some water. We don't need much for this process. So we had brought in 10 gallons of water in these great collapsible water tote bags that are like, they're made out of some kind of synthetic. It's kind of fantastic because, you know, once you're done with the water, they fold down to next to nothing, but they hold 5 gallons and they're super durable. What's the name on the
Wolverine Tough Bottles.
Wolverine Tough Bottles? Fantastic buy. So Christine is using a 32-ounce container to measure out 4 quarts of water, which is half of the water we need for 280 pounds. I'd rather use a razor knife that is just basically disposable, you know, but I got my old John Henry handy. That's what I'm using. Holy crap. So, I'm gonna put 80 pounds in. Sorry, Christine, I probably. So we got our first bag in. We're gonna let that mix until it's good. It should mix super wet. And then once we get this mixed up well, we'll probably add one more quart and put in the second bag. All right, so we are on our very last push to get this gate installed. It's been quite a chore. As you can see from the ground here, it's basically just solid rock. It's not solid, but it's rock the entire way. So it took us quite a while, but we got it done. Our 6x6s are set in stone, in concrete, because of the way we dug the holes and because of the toughness of the rock. We have to like create sort of a custom lumber piece so that the gate fits. So we're doing we're basically putting 2x6s on the 6x6s to make them 4x6s on the 6x6s to make them 10x6s ish. And then that will give us, it'll look cool. It's going to look beefy. The gate's going to fit perfectly in between them, hopefully. And let's get started.
Done. So exciting. That feels like a huge accomplishment. Thank you for getting that in, because I would have had no idea how.
Oh my goodness, that was a lot of work, but...
So the only thing was I had my heart set on a red gate. So we found that the red gate was actually more expensive than the black gate, but they also didn't have it in stock in the 14 foot. So... we could pick 16 foot or 8 foot. So, I don't know, it was crazy, barely big enough to get a car through, or the biggest gate they sold. So we're gonna do a little spray painting to give me my dream gate. I don't know what kind of person has a dream gate, but I do.
Let's do it now. All right, well, this ends, I guess, the first video in what we hope to be many for Big Spruce Farm. This was our first weekend of work. We didn't accomplish a ton of stuff, but we feel pretty accomplished. I mean, we got this whole edge, a ton of honeysuckle completely removed, so its roots and everything are completely gone. We wound up having to dig these giant posts for the gate that at the beginning we had no idea that it was going to be 4 feet of rock. It was literally just river rock packed in dirt. So it took all day to dig those 2 holes. So the gate originally was almost at the other side of the barn. But this is, this gives you easily more than 2 car lengths off the road to pull in, and then sets it up so that the fence line that we're building and the gate meet up with the front edge of the barn. So it's this private area all around the back of the barn, which we like a little bit nicer. And yeah, we're gonna clean this up. We're gonna put some fencing in. We're gonna do some native plantings of smaller trees here on either side of the gate to kind of make it a little more inviting and nice. But yeah, so this is this is our first thing done. It's pretty good. I mean, and I'm happy. It's a pretty good looking gate.
And if you look at the clouds in front of us,
we have got a whopper of a rainstorm headed in, so we have finished just in time.
Yeah.
Very thankful for that.
Yeah, we're gonna clean up real quick and we're gonna get out of here for the weekend. So thanks for watching us to the end. Hopefully you'll catch us next time. Hopefully, you know, we don't have a set schedule, but we're sort of planning on getting videos out, you know, hopefully a couple times a month initially, maybe more. We don't know yet, but you know.
So please like us, subscribe, share with friends, and we look forward to seeing you guys again.
Yeah, and I mean, sort of importantly, I know everybody always says get the bell on, but for us, because it's not going to be like every Monday there's a video, it'll be hit or miss for a while until we kind of get things rolling. Put the bell on, because then when we do another video, if you're interested in what we're doing here at Big Spruce Farm, you'll get notified. So that's it, right? Thank you. See ya.
Bye, guys.